From cheating with 10 different women,
Like he just really out here just showing his ass. Talking to other women, basically cheating.
to playing the victim and getting a restraining order for his ex.
An order of protection for domestic violence, civil protection from my ex.
This is the shocking story of how Derek Warner Jr.'s toxic behavior and complete inability to stay out of trouble led to one of the most predictable downfalls in Love After Lockup history.
Let me have a good night. I need you to...
You need me to what?
make me happy, like...
I am.
Derek's journey into infamy didn't start with reality TV cameras. His path to destruction began decades earlier in the streets of Cleveland, Ohio, where bad decisions would become a trademark long before millions of viewers watched his life fall apart on national television. Derek Warner Jr. wasn't just another guy who made a few mistakes. By age 17, he was already so deep in trouble that a juvenile judge decided he needed to be tried as an adult. The charges were serious: burglary and related crimes that landed him 6 years in adult prison, while most kids his age were thinking about college. But prison didn't teach Derek any lessons. Instead, it seemed to give him a graduate degree in criminal behavior. By 2013, federal prosecutors in Cleveland rolled out a massive drug investigation targeting over 30 people connected to the Lakeshore Boys street gang. Derek's name was right there on the list, facing multiple counts of heroin distribution and illegal gun possession. The federal case moved fast. Derek tried to fight the evidence against him, but lost badly. He was convicted on the drug charges and hit with a sentence that would define his entire 20s. Even when an appeals court threw out part of his sentence in 2016, it was just a technicality about how the judge had calculated his punishment. While Derek was locked up learning nothing from his mistakes, tragedy struck his family in the worst possible way. On August 17, 2013, his mother's birthday, Crystal Monique Pinkins was shot and killed in Cleveland. The murder was so shocking it ended up featured on A&E's true crime show, The First 48, in an episode called House of Rage. The killer, Drayshawn Congress, eventually pleaded guilty and was sentenced for taking Derek's mother away on what should have been a day of celebration.
She got into an altercation, a verbal altercation. Things escalated, and from the video, from First 48, you know, my mother was shot and killed.
This devastating loss happened while Derek was behind bars, unable to be there for his family when they needed him most. But instead of using his mother's death as motivation to change his life, Derek seemed to view it as just another reason why the world was against him. He never took responsibility for how his criminal choices had put him in prison during his family's darkest hour. It was during these dark years behind bars that Derek would meet the woman who would eventually enable his worst behaviors on national television. Long before cameras found them, Monique Robinson discovered Derek through a Facebook group for people with incarcerated loved ones. She was a Chicago-based animal hospital worker looking for connection, and Derek was a federal prisoner looking for someone to support him while he served time. Their relationship developed entirely through letters, phone calls, and prison visits over 2 years. Monique fell for Derek's smooth talk and promises that he was a changed man who just needed someone to believe in him. She had no idea she was setting herself up to become the enabler in one of reality TV's most toxic relationships.
Derek and I have been dating for 2.5 years now, but we have never met in person.
By the time Derek was nearing release, casting directors for Love After Lockup had discovered their story through the same Facebook group where they met. The producers saw pure gold. A woman who had never lived with her boyfriend, a man fresh out of federal prison, and enough red flags to fill an entire season. When Love After Lockup introduced Derek and Monique in Season 4, viewers immediately saw what Monique had chosen to ignore for 2 years. Derek wasn't a reformed man ready for a fresh start. He was a career criminal who had learned nothing from nearly a decade behind bars.
Like, obviously, like, we about to enter a new stage in our relationship.
Well, I always have your back, and it's not going to stop when I get out. You're gonna love it.
The show's producers grouped them among the season's featured couples, with Derek listed as serving 9 years for drug possession and distribution. But that description barely scratched the surface of Derek's criminal history or the toxic personality that would soon destroy everything he touched. From their very first scenes together, Derek displayed the entitled attitude and manipulative behavior that would define their entire relationship. He expected Monique to support him financially and emotionally while giving nothing back except broken promises and constant lies. Monique, desperate to make their fantasy relationship work in reality, began implementing surveillance and control measures that showed she knew deep down that Derek couldn't be trusted. She tracked his location, monitored his phone usage, and demanded constant updates on his activities. This was the behavior of someone who knew their partner was a liar. The warning signs were everywhere, but what happened next proved that Derek's problems went far beyond simple dishonesty. On January 20th, 2023, Love After Lockup aired one of its most dramatic episodes when Derek and Monique found themselves in what they believed was a high-speed car chase. The couple was convinced that an SUV was following them through the streets, with Monique suspecting Derek's sisters were behind the surveillance.
Being followed.
Is it a family member?
Derek, are you sure? Because I will pull over and find out who it is.
Don't pull over. No, do not do that.
Do not pull over. Lock the doors.
The chase became a frantic multi-street pursuit that perfectly captured the paranoid, unstable world Derek had created around himself. Whether real or imagined, the incident showed viewers exactly what life with Derek looked like. Constant drama, family conflicts, and the feeling that danger was always just around the corner. This was the natural result of Derek's lifestyle choices catching up with him and dragging everyone around him into chaos. The fact that they couldn't drive through their own city without feeling hunted said everything about the toxic environment Derek had created.
I have no idea who it could be. I can only assume it's Derek's sisters.
We're not trying to stop.
Chasing us, wanting to with us.
But being chased through the streets was nothing compared to what cameras captured next. In February 2023, WeTV aired the episodes that revealed Derek's true character to the world. Monique had discovered that Derek hadn't just cheated on her once or twice, he had been unfaithful with multiple women since his release from prison. The evidence was overwhelming. Text messages, phone calls, and eyewitness accounts painted a picture of a man who viewed his loyal girlfriend as nothing more than a financial safety net while he pursued other women. Derek had been sleeping around town while Monique was working to support them both and planning their future together.
As soon as I left, like, he just really out here just showing his ass. Talking to other women, basically cheating.
When confronted with the proof of his betrayals, Derek's response was everything viewers needed to know about his character. Instead of showing genuine remorse, he made excuses and tried to justify his actions. He told cameras that he didn't consider their relationship real at the time, as if that somehow made his behavior acceptable. Derek claimed he was unfaithful to Monique because their relationship was in a gray area, and that he didn't feel like it was a relationship. This pathetic attempt to avoid responsibility showed viewers exactly what kind of man Monique had wasted years of her life supporting. The cheating scandal was devastating enough, but Derek's family drama was about to make everything worse. Derek's relationship with Monique was tearing apart his entire family. His sisters despised Monique and made no effort to hide their feelings, leading to explosive confrontations that played out on national television. The family conflicts reached their peak during what fans called the Sister Summit, a disastrous attempt to bring both sides together to work out their differences. Instead of finding common ground, the meeting devolved into screaming matches and bitter accusations that proved these relationships were beyond repair.
What's wrong with my
And we don't take accountability
So you feeling
and
some
say
type of way
that
that
we
my
did
sister
something.
want to check bitch's temperature? Like, what is it? Talking about with that fake ass meat, what's up?
Derek's sister saw right through Monique's attempts to control their brother and didn't appreciate her surveillance tactics or possessive behavior. But instead of supporting their concerns, Derek chose to play both sides, telling each group what they wanted to hear while solving nothing. This pattern of conflict avoidance and manipulation would become Derek's signature move, creating chaos and then stepping back to watch everyone else fight while he avoided taking responsibility for his role in the drama.
Yeah, the bitch will swing. I will knock you the out. Bitch. Go, move. Go see that ass.
While his family relationships crumbled, Derek decided to double down with a desperate romantic gesture that fooled no one. Derek realized his cheating scandal had done serious damage to his reputation and his relationship with Monique. His solution wasn't to actually change his behavior or seek help for his obvious issues. Instead, he decided to propose marriage. WeTV's official social media accounts promoted the proposal as Derek being ready to commit to Monique for life, but viewers weren't buying it. This was clearly damage control from a man who had already proven he couldn't be faithful for even a few months after prison.
Monique, I want you to trust me. I want to be your husband. Will you marry me?
The proposal was everything viewers had come to expect from Derek, a grand gesture designed to manipulate emotions rather than demonstrate real change. He wasn't proposing because he had learned to value Monique or because he was ready to be a faithful partner. He was proposing because it was the only way to keep his financial support system in place. Monique's acceptance of the proposal showed how deeply she had been manipulated by Derek's promises and how little she valued herself. She was willing to marry a man who had publicly humiliated her with his infidelity just months earlier. But even as Derek was making fake promises about their future, his criminal past was about to catch up with him in a big way. On March 28, 2023, just as Derek and Monique were trying to rebuild their public image after the cheating scandal, Derek's world came crashing down. He was arrested in Ohio on a felonious assault charge that would expose even more of his violent criminal history. The booking log showed Derek was taken into Lorain County Jail in the middle of the afternoon, and the timing couldn't have been worse for his reality TV career. Just when he thought he had successfully manipulated his way back into Monique's good graces, his past violence was front-page news again. The assault charge wasn't even from a recent incident. It was connected to an attack on another inmate that had happened 2 years earlier while Derek was still in federal prison. This revelation showed viewers that Derek's violence wasn't limited to his relationship or his drug stealing. He couldn't even serve time without attacking other prisoners. The fact that prosecutors had waited 2 years to charge Derek with this assault suggested they had been building a case and gathering evidence while he was playing the reformed boyfriend on television. His criminal behavior had finally caught up with him at the worst possible time. Monique's reaction to Derek's arrest revealed the truth about their relationship that she had been hiding from herself. When Derek was arrested, Monique's immediate reaction spoke volumes about where their relationship really stood. Instead of standing by her man or expressing support, she changed her Facebook profile picture to Derek's newest mugshot and announced that he was in for a violation. Her caption was brutal in its finality. "He's in for a violation. We had a good run though." This wasn't the response of a loving fiancé worried about her partner's legal troubles. This was the response of someone who had finally reached their breaking point with Derek's endless criminal behavior. The mugshot profile picture became an instant symbol of their relationship's end and Derek's complete failure to change his life. Monique was publicly declaring that she was done enabling his criminal lifestyle and ready to move on without him. Fans on social media immediately recognized the significance of her choice. This was Monique finally admitting that Derek would never be the man she had hoped he could become. But Derek's legal troubles were far from over, and his attempt to minimize his crimes would only make things worse. In May 2023, Derek made a strategic decision that perfectly captured his approach to life. He pleaded guilty to attempted aggravated assault, a reduced version of the original felonious assault charge. This plea deal allowed him to avoid a lengthy prison sentence while still admitting his guilt in attacking another human being. The judge sentenced Derek to 1 year of community control, which was essentially probation with strict supervision requirements. This sentence meant Derek would have to check in regularly with probation officers and follow strict rules about his activities and associations. For most people, narrowly avoiding prison would be a wake-up call to completely change their lives. For Derek, it was just another temporary inconvenience that he assumed he could manipulate his way through without making any real changes. The plea deal also meant Derek now had an official criminal record that included federal drug convictions and a violent assault conviction. Any future legal troubles would be viewed in the context of his pattern of criminal behavior. Derek's inability to learn from his mistakes would soon lead to his most predictable, as Derek's life continued spiraling downwards. Even his most devoted supporter was finally ready to give up on him. By 2024, Monique had finally seen enough of Derek's lies, crimes, and broken promises to accept the truth she had been avoiding for years. Their relationship, which had survived prison sentences, cheating scandals, arrests, and family conflicts, finally died under the weight of Derek's complete inability to change. Monique's decision to publicly display Derek's mugshots and custody photos was her way of announcing to the world that she was done being his victim. She had spent years supporting a man who gave her nothing back except heartbreak and humiliation.
You know my heart. You know I'm a good person. You know I'm gonna be good to you. I'm telling you that. Why are you doing that?
Because, I mean, I really came down here to pretty much break up with you and to end things.
The end of their relationship marked the complete collapse of Derek's support system. Without Monique to bail him out, support him financially, and make excuses for his behavior, Derek was truly alone with the consequences of his choices for the first time. Their breakup also meant the end of Derek's reality TV career. Love After Lockup had featured their relationship because of its dramatic potential, but without Monique, Derek was just another ex-con with a long criminal history and no compelling storyline. Derek's isolation would lead to his most pathetic attempt yet to control and hurt the woman who had wasted years of her life trying to save him. In a move that perfectly captured Derek's manipulative personality, he reportedly filed for a restraining order against Monique after their relationship ended. This wasn't because Monique had threatened or harassed him, it was Derek's attempt to control the narrative and make himself look like the victim in their toxic relationship. The restraining order filing revealed Derek's true character in the most disgusting way possible. After years of cheating on Monique, lying to her, and using her for financial support, Derek tried to use the legal system to further hurt and humiliate her. Most shocking was Derek's decision to include Monique's weight in the legal documents, listing her as weighing 500 pounds. This cruel detail had no relevance to any legitimate safety concerns. It was pure malice designed to embarrass and hurt the woman who had supported him through his lowest points. The weight comment revealed everything viewers needed to know about Derek's character. This was a man who would use the most intimate details of their relationship as weapons to hurt someone who had loved him unconditionally.
He put Monique verbally threatened to hurt me and my family and others around me. Monique then physically assaulted my sister and had her sisters fight my sisters.
Derek's final acts of spite and cruelty sealed his reputation as one of reality TV's most irredeemable villains. Even after everything that had happened with Monique, Derek continued proving that he had learned nothing from his mistakes. Reports surfaced that he had moved on to another relationship, and predictably, drama followed him to his new romance as well. Social media battles erupted between Monique and Derek's new girlfriend, with both women trading insults and accusations online. The fact that Derek had managed to create conflict between his current and former partners showed that his toxic behavior was a permanent feature of his personality, not something specific to his relationship with Monique. Fans watching the social media drama unfold noted that Monique was still using Derek's pictures as her profile photos, suggesting that she wasn't as over him as she claimed to be. Comments like, "She is deeply sad and clearly not over him," revealed that Derek's manipulation had left lasting psychological damage. The ongoing drama between Derek's past and present relationships proved that he would never be capable of maintaining healthy romantic connections. His pattern of lying, cheating, and creating conflict was destined to destroy every relationship he ever entered. Derek's story serves as a perfect example of how some people are simply beyond redemption, no matter how many chances they are given. Today, Derek Warner Jr. stands as a perfect example of how not to handle second chances, relationships, and personal growth. His journey from federal prisoner to reality TV villain to restraining order filing ex-boyfriend is entirely self-inflicted, the result of choices that prioritized short-term manipulation over long-term change. Derek's story is a warning about the dangers of enabling toxic behavior, the consequences of refusing to take responsibility for your actions, and the emptiness of pursuing fame without substance. His inability to learn from his mistakes, control his criminal impulses, or treat others with basic human dignity led to a completely predictable ending.
Listen, I feel like at the same time we wasn't together. That's how I feel. That's why I did that.
Y'all wasn't together, but she was holding you down. She was like you was with you. Right. How you gonna be with somebody now?
Every person who tried to help Derek, from Monique to his family members to the probation officers who supervised his community control, was ultimately defeated by his refusal to change. He had every opportunity to build a different life, but chose instead to repeat the same destructive patterns that had already cost him his freedom, his relationships, and his reputation. Derek's downfall is satisfying because it's the natural consequence of his own choices. He was the architect of his own destruction, building his failure one lie, one crime, and one betrayal at a time. The criminal is exactly where he belongs, and everyone who tried to save him is better off without him in their lives. Derek Warner Jr. got exactly what he deserved: nothing.